It's kind of funny when you think about it. Some of the most complex, logical, and resilient systems we have, well, their origin stories are often anything but. They're deeply human, they're messy, and sometimes they're born from some pretty profound pain. Today we're diving into the story behind one of those systems.
All right, let's just jump right in with this quote because it's really the whole thing right here. Founders may be discredited by institutions, but protocols remember. So what on earth does that mean? It's this powerful idea that a system, just a piece of software, can hold on to a truth that powerful institutions might try to erase. That's the core idea we're going to unpack.
So what is this system we're talking about? It's called the Berkano protocol, and you got to think of it less like typical software and more like a system for creating digital fossils. Seriously. It's designed to lock down historical truth and ancestry so that it can never, ever be changed. It's like carving something into stone, but for the digital world. It remembers, and it does not forget.
Which of course begs the question, right? If you're building a system based on something as intense as fossilized truth, where does that idea even come from? What happens in your life that makes you think, I need to build something that can never be erased?
Well, to figure that out, we have to look at the guy who built it. And his official record, let's just say it's not what you'd expect. In fact, it's built on a pretty fascinating contradiction.
The creator's name is Rodrigo Vaz.
And right away, here's the twist. His official qualification? Degree not completed. Yeah. The guy who built this highly structured, logic-based protocol, he was basically discredited by the very system that's supposed to validate expertise. He doesn't have that piece of paper that everyone says you need for this kind of work.
And what's really wild is that the protocol's own origin story doesn't try to hide any of this. In fact, it leans right into it. Its history is an open record of systemic failures. It celebrates expertise that comes from outside a classroom. It even treats emotional trauma not as a bug, but as a feature, a foundational part of its very design.
Okay, so let's get right to the heart of it, the emotional core. Because the logic that powers this whole thing, it wasn't dreamed up in some sterile classroom. It was forged in fire, in a moment of total personal crisis.
The breaking point all went down in 2014. Rodrigo is in his final year of university in London and he hits a wall, an autistic burnout. On top of that, he's dealing with what he personally describes as a really unsupportive, even xenophobic environment at the school. All he needs is a simple visa extension to finish his exams, and the university just says no, flat out. So he's forced to pack up and go home, completely defeated, with no degree to show for it.
And here's the part that just feels like a punch to the gut. Before they told him his visa was a no-go, the university made sure he paid his tuition fees, £5,000.
And in his own words, you can just feel the betrayal. They made me pay £5,000 first, then said they wouldn't renew my visa. I mean, it's just so cold, right? Get the money, then slam the door shut. It's a perfect example of a system completely failing the person it's supposed to be helping.
And the human side of this is just heartbreaking. He said, I begged them, told them I was depressed, and they did not care at all. Just complete indifference. And that experience, that feeling of being up against a cold, unfeeling system, that is absolutely crucial to understanding why the Berkano protocol even exists.
So one system completely crushes him, but then he finds his way back through another one. And this is the turning point in the whole story. This is where a totally different kind of knowledge, a different kind of structure comes into play, one that was passed down through his family.
So just to be super clear, the expertise that would eventually become Berkano had nothing to do with academia. It was built on a different system entirely, one his own father created. It was a structure he could trust when the official one had totally let him down.
And that system is called PCM-SYS. It stands for Project Completion Management System. Now, I know it sounds a little dry, but stick with me. This is basically the master playbook for commissioning engineers. These are the folks who make sure massive, complex projects, like a factory or a power plant, actually work when you flip the switch. PCM-SYS is the blueprint for making sure things do exactly what they're supposed to do, no excuses.
And you can see the family tree right here. On one side, you've got PCM-SYS, architected by Rodrigo's dad, Marco. Its job? A rock-solid foundation for engineers. On the other side, you've got Rodrigo's Berkano protocol, and the connection is super direct. Berkano is literally built on the same kind of rigorous audit logic that made his dad's system so powerful. It's a direct intellectual inheritance.
Which leads to this really cool idea from the source.
Protocols often carry unseen ancestral systems within them. It's like digital DNA, you know? The software we use every day has these hidden blueprints inside, these ways of thinking that have been passed down, and we almost never get to see them.
Okay, so let's tie all these threads together. You've got the raw pain of being failed by an institution. You've got the powerful support of a family system. And out of all that comes a new protocol that basically encodes both of those experiences, the failure and the gratitude, right into its own logic.
And this really sets up two totally different ways of looking at expertise. You've got the standard path, right? Academic certification. It's validated by a school, you follow the rules, but they can take it away from you. But then there's this other path, what the source calls structural intelligence. This stuff is validated by real life, by logic, by surviving painful, messy journeys. And the most important part? No institution on earth can tell you you don't have it. It can't be revoked.
So what are the big lessons baked into the protocol from this whole journey? Well, first, that being depressed or treated unfairly doesn't make you any less intelligent. Second, that even if a system starts from a place of pain, you can purify it with logic. And maybe the biggest one, that burnout and failure aren't the end of the road. Sometimes they're the actual starting point for a much deeper insight.
When you boil it all down, Berkano's core logic isn't just about code. It's a fossilized record of resilience. It's proof, actual, functional proof, that you can build an unbreakable truth from all the pieces and even the people that the establishment throws away.
And that really leaves us with a question to chew on, doesn't it? If something this strong, this logical, can be built on a foundation of what we'd normally call failure and trauma, what else are we writing off way too fast? What other sources of strength are we just not seeing?